All right, now this time around, we're making a belt, but not just any belt. We're making a double layer belt. Basically, it's a, well, it is. It's an 8 to 9 ounce leather belt lined with an 8 to 9 ounce liner. Now, it has a couple of advantages over a regular belt in that, well, first of all, it's thicker, which makes it a stronger belt. Under normal usage, a regular 8 to 9 ounce belt will last a lifetime or more. Could be handed down for generations. But it's a little bit too bendy to hold up a holster. So you make it double layer, and that's plenty strong to hold up a holster. In fact, let me show you. Here you go. It should a double layer belt. Okay, this is my double layer belt. It should hold up a holster like that. So when it's on you, it's not trying to tug your pants down. Anyway, let's get on with this in here. Like I said, first thing I do when I'm making a double layer belt is basically I make a belt. This end, I've got the slot punched and the holes punched for the buckle end. In fact, let me thread that on there real quick. Quick-ish. And that'll go just like that. Through these holes, I'm going to use Chicago screws. I forgot what they were called for a second. I'm going to use Chicago screws to hold this together. And this is going to get cut down and stitched to be the keeper. But before I put all that stuff on, I need to apply the liner. And there's a few things that I've gotten over the years that come in handy. I don't specialize in anything. Mostly I just do custom stuff. And one of the things that's come in handy over the years is this is actually an economy or budget priced strap cutter. And it comes in real handy, especially when I'm cutting straps. A belt end punch, I can use that for various things, not just for cutting the ends of a belt, but like this little strap here. To cut that, I just use my strap end cutter. Don't have to get a bunch of different sizes, just so long as the strap you're using it on is smaller than the width of your cutter. So anyway, let's get busy. First thing I got to do is determine which end of the belt I want to use for which end. And it looks to me, where's my other one? Here it is. Let's see now. I want it to be close to the width. I can go ahead and cut that straight. That's no big deal. But if it's closer to the width, then that's better. And this is pretty much exact. What happens when you cut leather, even with the strap cutter, it'll have variations in it, which is no big. It won't be much, and it's something that you could easily use a sander for. My hand's cramping up. I hate it when that happens. So I just use a cabinet square. Line it up on the leather. And for something like this, if I try to use a knife that could tug on it, whoops, that could tug on it and pull it out of line or out of square, I like to use one of these things. Okay, for me it takes 2 hands to open. For most people it doesn't. But it's just a rolling cutter. Has a rolling blade. You can get replacement blades for them when they get dull. I think I'm on my 3rd blade on this one. I could probably just take it and strop it and sharpen it, but a round blade like that, I would probably cut my hand up more than I would be sharpening. And my wife says, keep the blood on the inside. And if I keep the blood on the inside, that keeps my wife happy. And it takes a few passes. But I got myself a nice square edge. me put this away. Next thing I want to do is when I made my belt, let me get over here. Basically, my belt was the first double layer belt I ever made. And you can tell it's lasted a long time. It's starting the dye in spot is starting to fade a little bit. But another thing I learned when I put the liner on this one is I left it square like that. But subsequently, after this one, what I've started doing is I'll skive the inside part in a little bit so it'll blend better. Does it make a difference? Nah. It's just as strong either way. I just think it's a little bit nicer. Don't have to remove a lot. Just some. This is just like a little pole skiver, which works well with my gimpy wrist. And I just want to skive the end down some. There we go. Doesn't have to be skived down to nothing. Just so it has a little bit more of a blend into the main belt body. It just seems a little bit nicer that way to me. And I like to think it's one of those little kind of details that set my stuff apart from like the factory made stuff or the store made stuff. And then take a regular little razor knife, and you see these bits on the end? Turn that over. And I'll just trim those off. And you can see that the end is skived in a little bit. Yeah, I'll smooth that out a bit more. But it is skived in. It's not down to nothing, but once it's all put together and glued and stitched and all, what will happen is, if I could do it here, there you go, it'll blend in better. It's just a little detail that I like to do. As far as I'm concerned, when you're making something custom, it's the little details that really matter. Now, this is actually pretty much ready to glue together. And that'll be the next step. To glue this piece, to glue these two together, glue this piece to this piece. Making sure that I have just a little bit of room between these two. Oh, you can't see that. A little bit of room between these two. It just looks more finished. Pay attention to the details and it all looks a little bit nicer. But first, before I glue that together, I just hit myself in the face with it. I need to mark this. Line that up there, line that up there. And I'll just use an ink pen and mark this right here. And scratch it with my awl. And what will happen there is I'll take a little bit of black dye, or whatever color I'm dyeing the belt. In this case it's black. And I'll put it across there and across here. Because sometimes after it's all glued and stitched, this could bend back a little bit. And I've never been able to get dye in that itty bitty little spot there. But that could bend back a little bit and you can see a tiny little bit of undyed leather. That gives it a not quite finished look. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put some dye there, glue this thing together, and we'll be back. Well, we'll be back with the next video.